Hey guys, BeardBrigade coming at you. Welcome to our first official Tabletalk Tuesday. So, uh, with this, with Tabletalk Tuesdays, starting it off here in February, it'll be the new part of our schedule. So the schedule as it will currently stand will be Monster Monday, where you get your weekly dose of monster facts and variations for you to use in your stories, tabletop games, or whatever it is you may be working on. So I'll be talking about different kinds of monsters, coming up with monsters of my own, variations, maybe even just making a couple custom monsters here and there, and also talking about some monster concepts. So next in line up will be now Table Talk Tuesdays, where much like that Necromancy series I did a while back, I'll be talking about different things like the history of certain things, or what, things like magic schools, or types of magic, or types of mythological settings, or creatures, or gods, anything that you can use as a point of reference to either learn more about or get some different ideas. So depending on the topic, it may be broken into several different videos over several weeks to inform you guys about different things that are going on. So, and then of course we have Wildcard Wednesdays, where I will be posting challenge videos every Wednesday of me challenging myself to do something different in one of my games. So, and then after that, I'll be currently taking Thursdays off for my videos until I get my schedule going a little bit more. And then I'll do my best to post Fridays and Saturdays as well, with just some random videos until I figure out, again, scheduling stuff. However, Sundays, guys, from now on, and actually I think for a while now, for at least a week or two, I actually haven't posted on a Sunday. But from now on, guys, I'm not going to be posting on Sundays. I'm actually taking Sundays as my day to rest and recuperate and brainstorm and just, hang out with the family. So that is how the schedule stands. So with that, guys, we'll just dive right in, of course, on our Tabletop Tuesday. So similar to our Necromancy series that we did a while back, this series, kind of a darker series. Not exactly sure offhand how many videos I'm going to be doing on this one. This first video, though, we'll be talking about the most common things from the medieval era in regards to disease, disease and ailments, because at least in tabletop gaming, it is something that does get overlooked a little bit. I know, like, 4th edition D&D had a big list of, like, different diseases you could have and be afflicted with, and so did GURPS. GURPS has a lot of stuff, too, that you can, like, contract and have to deal with. Stuff over time, and stuff that takes a long time to deal with, and stuff that doesn't affect your character right away, either. And I think that's just a small feature of tabletop role-playing games that we as DMs, or those of you who are DMs like myself, don't put a lot of stock into, just because you don't want to, it's just one more thing you have to manage. And it does get to be kind of a pain in the butt. But at the same time, when I played 4th edition, I actually ran a campaign where I had a player contract a disease, and it was very interesting how it played out. It was very short-lived, because I figured it out right away, and they did get it kind of cured pretty quickly. But it did add a bit of an interesting take to the scenario. So, with, like I said, guys, with this first video, I'm going to be starting off by talking about, because most fantasy games, at least, D&D, take place in a more medieval kind of setting. We're talking 1200s to 1500s, roundabout, give or take a couple hundred years. And so we kind of talking a little bit about the most common diseases. While I do so, I figured, what would be a good starting point is I'm at the Shrine of Pyrite in Skyrim, and Pyrite is like a god of disease and decay and stuff like that. So I figured, you know what, starting his quest line would actually be a good start to the video. So, alrighty guys, well, I went to start the quest with the guy, and because I haven't found the afflicted commoner person who sends me to the Shrine of Pyrite, can't start the quest yet. So we're gonna run along the road and just kind of run around in hopes that we find him. Which I guess kind of makes sense, because it'll give me a chance to talk about the diseases that we kind of saw in the Middle Ages, and the conditions and things like that. And then, you know, while we're running around in that dungeon, we're, you know, hopefully, you know, leading up to going into the actual dungeon with the diseased guys, then I can take the time to talk about, like, diseases I see them in games, or use it as the basis for, you know, sharing some ideas with you guys. So we'll take the opportunity now to just kind of talk about the different things we'll run around. So let's see here. So in medieval Europe, we did see a huge... What's going on here?
Now come along quietly, and we won't have to get rough.
What are you looking for?
We're looking for we believe she may be hiding in Whiterun, but we're checking everywhere to be sure. What do you need? She doesn't have the scar. What? Oh. We made a mistake. Now move along.
Oh yeah, that's not Alkir thing. So, you know, medieval Europe, we saw, you know, the raising of towns and cities, and during the medieval era, you know, wars and, you know, constant fighting and, you know, terrible living conditions, and, you know, the outbreak of a lot of different diseases that caused a lot of problems during that era. I did find a pretty interesting website called Medieval Chronicles, and the list that I found, because I was looking at all different stuff, but this one had the best information that I could find, and I'll post the link to the page that I'm referencing most of this material from, and that way you guys can go check it out for yourselves, as well as check out the site in general, because it had a lot of good information on it. I didn't get a chance to sit down and read a lot of it, but what I did skim through and look at and stuff, it had a pretty good list of things on there. So let's see here. I got some wolves that are about to attack me. I thought I was some wolves that were about to attack me. I guess they're not. I guess we've been saved from that. So so with you know, the rise of these different things, we saw a lot of diseases and outbreaks. Now, the number one cause for a lot of the diseases that you see in the Middle Ages and in the medieval era, primarily caused due to poor hygiene conditions, because they didn't have the level of hygiene care as we do today, you know, that caused to a lot of the different problems that we have now. One of the big heavy hitters during the medieval times, and I think, I'm not 100% sure, but I think this is still, I know that's part of a quest, I think, the Sleeping Sap Tree. I think it's still a thing today. Leprosy. Now, just a quick kind of cap on what leprosy is. Crap, there's giants everywhere. So leprosy is my understanding here. Or here, well, here's actually a decent description on the thing here. Leprosy is a transmittable disease that leads to the formation of wounds all over the body and eventually results in the withering of organs. The disease was particularly common among poor people during the medieval period. Like one good movie that references leprosy, actually two, one of them is actually an anime. In the anime Princess Mononoke, the big, like, was leader girl person, she, has, like, a small little, like, group of lepers who make weapons for her and her security force, that protect her mining operation, to mine iron from the soil, which I thought was really cool. And then another one is Kingdom of Heaven, oddly enough. I shouldn't say oddly enough. So I think it's a good movie, at least. It takes place during a movie that takes place during the Crusades, which is fitting for the time era that we're talking about, and talks about, or the movie is about, like, this guy who takes over for or he finds that his father is a lord and takes his place after his death, for ruling his lands in the Middle East, as part of that, and he has to then, like, serve the leper king of Jerusalem, who was this young boy who was who contracted leprosy while he was young, and whatnot. Now, like I said, basically it creates these different wounds across the body. One of the big things, I mean, I haven't read too much up on leprosy, but one of the things that I do know about it that is a huge mud crab. That is a really big mud crab. I guess I shouldn't say I know for sure that it's a real thing, but it does seem to be a thing. Is that most people who contracted leprosy don't feel the pain of the wounds that form. I don't know if that's necessarily true. I am no medical professional, but I think it's just an interesting little fact, if it's true or not. I guess I should have probably looked it up, but if it is true, cool. If it's not, my bad. Like I said, I'm not a medical professional. I'm no medical student, so I wouldn't know one way or the other. Now, I'm totally getting sidetracked. I need to be following the road and not random shenanigans. I keep wanting to, like, explore stuff. Well, this mud crab totally, like, followed me. That's fine. So, that's one of the big heavy hitters. Now, so let's see here. Leprosy was, from what I'm reading here, was transmitted widely among the poor due to living in very cramped conditions. It was typically transmitted from close contact over long periods of time, typically from one family member to another. For example, disease took some 6 to 10 years to fully affect a victim, and leprosy victims, in the absence of an effective treatment during medieval period, were often banished among the populace, which is something you actually see in the Kingdom of Heaven movie. They actually turn, like, this whole fortress into this, like, I think it's the Kingdom of Heaven movie, where they turn this whole fortress into just a place where all the lepers live. All those affected by leprosy just live in this giant fortress. That's just where they live. Now, the next big heavy hitter that you see during this time age. Oh, I think here he is. I think this is Ryan. This is our dude. Please tell me this is our dude. Nope.
I'm on a pilgrimage in the mountains to the northeast. I'll mark it on your map.
He's going to the Shrine of Azura. Dang it. Alright, well, maybe we'll find him. The next big one was like plagues, especially like the bubonic plague or the Black Death, I believe as it was called. And that would claim hundreds of thousands of people, if I'm not mistaken. I don't have a figure here in the information because it just says plague in this list, but I think the main reference would be the bubonic plague. Now, many of the symptoms were fatal. People were having hallucinations, boils and sores would form on their bodies, flu-like symptoms in some cases, bleeding from different orifices, and just, would kill people rather quickly. And it spread, too, because of those cramped conditions, which essentially made the effects of leprosy spread quickly as well. And then the poor hygiene and then lack of sanitary conditions. People living in close proximity to each other and not bathing, not keeping themselves clean, not washing their hands, not cleaning their food properly. Or I guess not, I shouldn't say necessarily properly, but just not cleaning their food or sanitizing anything like we do today in modern times. So that led to the spread of those. Another big one is our next big heavy hitter, skin diseases, guys. Again, following on that common thread of lack of proper hygiene. Really only the rich, the lords, the kings, your kings and queens, your lords and ladies would really the only ones who had access to clean water. Wow, I totally just picked up stuff I didn't want to pick up, didn't I? There we go. Boom. There's one more guy. Go ahead and hit me if you want. Oh, there it goes. Wham. So a lot of it was just due to the fact that they didn't have access to this stuff. So, your lords and ladies, they would be able to, wash themselves and clean up and had those conditions where, the poor and the peasants and the common folk who didn't have access to some of that stuff, didn't have necessarily access to clean water all the time, they would get these skin conditions. They would get warts and sores and boils and, cysts and things that would just, get infected and cause problems because of these lack of conditions. Other things too, smallpox was a big thing, as well as chickenpox. And if you not treated properly, those could either cause like permanent scarring or, pave the way for, other diseases to affect the person. And, in some rare cases, actually be the cause of death. It's few and far between because most of these cases would, smallpox would break out and then it would be, there wouldn't be a problem after a while. It would spread from town to town, and then.
Alright, that's far enough. You know how this works. So there is 100 gold. In these
I don't know if I can really through. Oh. I'm not gonna find another way through. I'm just gonna charge right in.
bad time to get lost, friend.
I really wish I could find this diseased guy. Maybe we could get this going. I guess it's all good in the end. got some bandits on the way here. Run. Run. There's really not like a bandit leader or bandit chief here. Well, take that. So all of these were, those three major hitters right there alone were some of the major causes. Their major causes was the cramped living conditions and the poor, hygiene and cleanliness situation to a lot of villages. You had some places where you had families, these big families of, 10, 15 people, because, either multi-generation families or extended families, both the husband and wife's, families all living in the same house, tending to, their farm or their business. And, they're all living in the same place, using the same bowl of water to, all clean themselves with. It's bound to, unfortunately, it's bound to basically cause, problems and fester disease and things like that. Let's look up here. Let's see. Still nothing there. Nothing new there yet. On one hand, is firing up though, so that's boom right there. Ooh, chest. That was anticlimactic. Well, I know Robbers Cove is there now, but don't really want to go in there yet, because, well, I just don't want to go in there. Now, coming up next, let's see here. Typhoid was a big one here, caused by the same conditions as pretty much the other one. Typhoid, it causes, the disease came with some of the more serious symptoms, such as abdominal pains, consistently high fevers, and with no effective or readily available cure, that it would worsen fairly quickly with late stage symptoms such as blindness, headaches, and excessive exhaustion, and then of course eventually just death, without proper treatment or cure. And I believe, you have things like stories like Typhoid Mary. What the hell? That was weird. Random goat thing, and now I have a giant walking on the road who's probably going to attack me. Or not. I'm really confused all of a sudden. Right. This one's interesting, and I think I want to say in D&D there's actually I think there's already a Fortune's Journal. I think there is a reference to this, or a related that reference is a new place on my map, doesn't it? Or does Maybe it isn't. I don't remember. Alright. And so this next one is the Dancing Plague, which the reason it got its name is because, no joke guys, caused people to dance uncontrollably until it died. It literally, you would contract it, you would begin to dance, and you would dance until it killed you. Like, period. The disease didn't kill you, the fact that you just constantly danced killed you. Probably one of the craziest things you'll ever hear. But it was the cause for a lot of deaths, because it would spread quickly under these poor living conditions that people had. God, I cannot seem to find this plague guy. It is driving me mad. You would think that I would have run into him at least by now. Just trying to, oh, I guess there's a lot of points where I just kind of got off the road. So this next big hitter. Oh. Do we have him? Do we have him?
Important deliveries to make. No time for chatting.
He's a courier. Dang it. So this next one, I'm not 100% familiar with, to be honest. Kind of read it out the first time while reading over this reference material that I have. Called ergotism. Now, ergotism was a disease that was particularly common in rural parts neighboring marshy regions. Of the recorded instances of the disease during the medieval period, most took place immediately after a major famine, usually caused by excessively damp conditions such as heavy rains. Essentially what occurs is that the disease was caused by fungal infection found in grains. When such grain was consumed, people would suffer from hallucinations, vertigo, anxiety, and psychosis. It led to gangrenous infection of the blood vessels, which would wreak internal damage on the body organs. Nearly 40% of those afflicted by ergotism died, while those who would switch to healthier grain soon after affliction would generally be saved. So, basically, if you ate this infected grain, it would probably kill you. Who is this guy?
Greetings, brother. You look weary. I have something to help you. The finest skooma, the sweetest moon sugar, at a fair price, of course. A snitch, eh? Can't have you running to any guards now, can I?
Wait, what? Oh, oh crap. Why is he... I'm not sure why the crazy orc man tried to kill me, but... I'm going to take his moon sugar and his skooma. And sleep in the tree saddle. Sure. What is this place? Meridia's Beacon. Which we currently do not have. Bunnies! Bunny! There's a word of power. So yeah, that was a pretty hefty one. I mean, if you didn't switch to essentially a proper diet, you would pretty much kill yourself by eating this infected grain. Now, I want to make a terrible joke about this next one, guys. Well, I'm not going to say make a terrible joke. And I'm sure if any of you have ever played the Oregon Trail games, or the Oregon Trail games, such as they pronounce it a little better, you are probably familiar with dysentery, and you've all had that character who's died of it. If they had at least one person always dies of dysentery in Oregon Trail. So, now basically, for those of you who don't know what dysentery is, basically when you have your food supply right next to your toilet. But rather than having indoor plumbing, your toilet just kind of builds up, and all of that stuff just sits there and festers and gathers disease and just plague-carrying insects, and just kind of sits there and spoils, and it sits right next to or among your food. Like you're storing food right next to where you grab it, basically. I mean, it's a bit of a an extreme, I guess you could say, an extreme reference, but it's basically the overall cause of dysentery, or due to the lack of hygiene, you know, your food would become, due to the lack of hygiene and cleanliness, food would often become contaminated with bacteria. This frequently caused the outbreaks of dysentery, and dysentery is a disease marked by the internal inflammation of the intestines, usually resulted in severe cases of diarrhea, leading victims to lose water and important salts from their body. If not treated timely, as is often the case with the poor, the disease would eventually lead to dehydration and death. And that's all because of, you know, the lack of cleanliness. You know, if you didn't, you know, people are going to the bathroom and then not wiping their butts, and then, or they're wiping their butts, and then, you know, then they're putting their hands all over meat that they then cook up and give to everybody else. And, you know, that's going to cause problems. I mean, if it doesn't cause a problem, you got some magical self-cleaning hands or something. And, you know, that's just, you know, yeah. So, next up we have influenza and cough, which, you know, is, you know, a disease in the lungs, again, caused by that poor hygiene condition. You know, so someone gets, you know, a cold, or that then develops an influenza, and, you know, bing, bam, boom, they can't breathe, they suffocate, or, you know, they start coughing up blood, or, you know, they get just infections in the lungs that then spreads through the body and causes problems. Any number of things right there alone, with influenza and cough. You know, just even a simple case of bronchitis back then could easily cause major harm to somebody. You know, with you know, even with that, you know, bronchitis was just the inflammation of airways due to being sick, or, you know, maybe you swallowed something or went down the wrong pipe. As simple as that could cause bronchitis, but because of the living conditions in the era, that could kill you. Because of all that lack of cleanliness and the lack of having the proper clean environment into which to get your rest. Now here's another one which you typically, at least most of the time when I find or hear about a reference to this, I usually think more pirate, but scurvy. Scurvy is another big hitter, apparently. Now scurvy is the body, when the body lacks vitamin C. Basically what happens is it causes like gingivitis in the mouth. You know, your gums bleeding and begin to shorten, and then your teeth fall out, basically. Scurvy is still a thing today, guys. If you don't take care of yourself and eat properly and, you know, brush your teeth, your teeth are gonna fall out. You know, it's gonna happen. And it's kind of, you know, kind of sucks to think about, because then you're like, oh, well, then you need fake teeth, or, prosthetic teeth or stuff like that because all your teeth fell out, which would suck. Alright, so still no luck on finding this dude. But for our last major hitter here during the medieval era for diseases and ailments here was cholera. Now, cholera is a very notable disease during that time period, as well as its major outbreaks directly linked with the lack of adequate sanitary conditions, just like everything else. Now, the symptoms of cholera include severe diarrhea leading to quick dehydration, weakness, muscle cramps, and of course eventually death. Now, within a short time, and all of this happens within a short time of the infection that is cholera. Now, due to lack of understanding of the disease, medieval attempts to cure cholera, including abstination of raw fruits and vegetables, a cure which didn't help the victims. So basically during medieval times, they thought that, oh well, if I don't eat fruit and vegetables, it'll go away. Oh, how wrong they were. They only basically, they basically decided not to eat the one thing that's actually going to help them through cholera with the disease. So, those are kind of the major hitters there, and they all shared that. At least for the most part, they shared that common strand of, when you lack the sanitary conditions to you lack that environment, you're just going to, and you're living in these conditions, you're just going to spread these diseases, and you're going to spread them quickly. And they're just going to grow and faster at a very exponential rate. Nowadays we have, our indoor plumbing with, our sanitation. We wash our hands before we eat and before we consume things. To avoid things like these. That's why we do these things. Yes, that's kind of been kind of the overview of the diseases. I wish we had come across the dude. Should I just get infected with something? Because I had that weird... Oh. Totally thought I'd gotten a disease all of a sudden. I was like, oh, this would have been perfect. Weirdly enough. Oh man, sorry. So, it's one thing to keep in mind. So, like, the next, kind of call this because it took a little bit longer than I thought it would, which is good because then I can break into a second video here to talk about diseases and stuff as we see them in gaming. And hopefully find this dang plague guy that I'm looking for. So I'm gonna go hunting for him outside of the video, so I can start this quest so I can show you guys. Because I think this would be a really cool thing to reference, is this guy, because I really liked this quest line in Skyrim, and the whole pirate thing. It's just a very interesting quest, the Deja quest line. Anyway, guys, so that's the one takeaway though for you guys, for especially DMs and creative folks, when crafting your world or writing your games or whatever it is you may be doing, especially if you're working in a fantasy setting, which is kind of our main focus for this video series. Keep living conditions in mind, because that's the major cause for the spread of a lot of this disease. And like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, it's something that we don't really incorporate too often. At least I haven't. I mean, if you are a DM who incorporates diseases and poisons and sicknesses on a semi-regular basis or a fairly regular basis, hey, let me know. Drop me a line. Let me know how you go about doing it. What kind of things you throw in your groups. Or your group, I should say. And how it works out. Would love to hear some stories. And start collaborating some stuff. I'll work on the next couple of videos as well. So with that too, guys, one takeaway for those new creative folks out there, keep living conditions in mind. Proximity of people living nearby. How many people live in your major cities? How clean are your major cities? If you have this big palace citadel city that has 500,000 people living in it, any high fantasy medieval era, if that city doesn't have good sanitation in it, it's more than likely that you probably have some, at least it would make sense, at least I should say, that you would have like a outbreak of a plague or some kind of like crazy disease show up. So and those are, in my opinion, really good subtle things to have happen or to see.
What's a milk drinker like you doing out here? Go home to your mother.
Whoa, this person's angry.
Why? What are you gonna do? Cry? I don't have to take that from you.
So you're gonna fight. Well, I'm fighting all these people who are just wanting to fight.
The best you can do.
Hey,
I think you're bleeding.
hey, heal yourself. No fair, lady person. Alright, didn't really have anything. And still no plague guy. So, keep those kinds of conditions in mind when you're, creating your home brews, or, if you're wanting, to add in that extra little bit of flavor to your worlds or to your games, and have your players start worrying about stuff like that. So, just keep that kind of stuff in mind. So, of course, guys, with that brings us towards our end of the video, as always. So, for the month of February, as you guys know, we are working on country for our Nerd Collective playlist. So, let us see here. Oh, I guess I should stand still and do the playlist rather than keep walking, but you know what? It's more fun. Gives me a chance to run into that guy before we wrap up. So, oh, a lot of good ones here. Well, I think we're gonna go oh crap, I don't know if I have this person's name written down really to find the song again. So the name of the song, let me just pull up Spotify real quick here, guys, and see if I can find this real fast. Because I can't read my own handwriting. here we go. So the song is Road Less Traveled and by a Lauren Elena, I think is how you pronounce her name. I don't know, I listened to the song, it was interesting when I listened to it, and since I've been walking around on these roads, I can't seem to find this guy that we need to do this quest. That kind of leads me to believe that they're on the road that I'm not traveling on. So that is going to be our corrective song. So as always, guys, let me pop over to my favorites here. And see if we can find ourselves a good song of the day. Yeah, yeah. Song of the day. Yeah, yeah. Song of the day. Yeah, yeah. So, boom. Everyone's. Oh. There we go. Just as sure, what is this guy?
Alright, hand over your valuables, or I will cut you like a fish. Next, I am not going to ask again. Then I guess that is your last request, fool. You are dead.
Yeah, see, I'm just person after person after person just want to kill me. I don't understand. What have I done to cause all these people to be so angry? Oh, yeah. So, for our song of the day here, guys, just to be kind of funny, Wash It All Away by Five Finger Death Punch. Because if we have good hygiene and we just wash up, we're going to be good to go. So, I think that my cat's just sneezed or I had an audio glitch. Because that was really weird just now. I don't know if you guys heard that. That was a really weird, like... That was a really weird sound all of a sudden. It was like really creepy. I keep looking behind myself now. I don't know what's going on. So, yeah. So that will be our song of the day. As always, guys, find me on Instagram at BeardBrigade0. Find me on Twitter at BrigadeBeard. Like and subscribe if you have enjoyed this video. Make sure you hit that bell. That way it lets you know the next time I have a video up and rolling. And, always check out my companion website too, where I've been just transcribing my Monster Monday episodes. And, I've also been, toying with the idea of putting up some other information. Maybe working on some short stories or something to put up there for you guys. Or if you guys have a suggestion on other things you think I should put on my website, my blog there, drop me a line in the comments. Let me know what you think. What kind of content I should add to the website, and what kind of things you guys would like to see on it. As well too, if you have any kind of topic or I guess topic, I guess would work with a general concept there. Anything related to a type of magic or a mechanic of some kind, or general setting concept, or just really, anything that you think would make a interesting video that you would like me to look into. you know, again, drop me a line, guys. You know, let me know what kind of topics for these types of videos you want me to cover. You know, do you want me to cover a particular type of weapon? You know, fighting style. You know, just whatever. Just let me know. And I will start making a list of that kind of stuff and putting together some pretty cool series and sharing with you guys my opinions and stuff. So, with that, guys, next Tuesday we will cover the next part of this series, where we will talk about you know, disease and plague as you see it in, you know, tabletop games and video games like Skyrim. Can't go that way. I literally like reached the end of the map. I've never reached an end of the map like this before. That's so weird. Okay. But yeah, next week we will cover that on our Tabletalk Tuesday. And with that, guys, I hope you take care of yourselves and have a super fantastic rest of your day.